All right, good morning. Welcome in for another Friday Safety Focus of the Week. It is Friday, February 17th already. A couple more weeks will be in March. This week's code of conduct is to maintain confidentiality of insider information learned about ECI or about our clients. Any further discussion that we should have on this code item this morning, Mr. Dow?
Yeah, insider info, especially with our clients, we often have agreements that we sign with them. And I don't know if it always gets down to the crew level, but just beware that there's certain things that you might learn on a job site about the client, that's better off just kept in to yourself. The other thing is we're having a lot more people come into the office and help us work on bids. And so some of the guys that aren't normally working on bids, we actually involve you guys, and you come in, and sometimes you're going to see the numbers out there. Just beware when you get out there in the public, we're talking to other people, that you keep that confidential as well.
Yeah, and also speaking of bids, clients want to have one point of contact during a bid period. It's really important. So if you're on say a V-Trans job as an example, and you shouldn't be talking to like the resident engineer, even somebody from, V-Trans, to say, hey, what do you think about this or that? That's totally a no-no, and they treat it pretty seriously. So we got to be careful on that. So no discussions like that outside of the company anyway. And when it is done, it's done through the official point of contact from V-Trans.
Yeah, good point.
So another 7 days without a recordable. Our day count's up to 243. Excellent job. Let's keep it going. And 23 days from our last related first aid injury. Wanted to quickly highlight with the off and on muddy conditions and moving some stuff around, we have been seeing a little bit of uptick from complaints from the public regarding loose debris coming off of trailers. So let's just really try to remind ourselves and inspect our trailers before we leave the yard or our job sites when we're traveling on those public roadways, making sure any loose debris, stones, rocks, sand, whatever it may be, let's try to clean our trailers off before we get out there.
Yeah, it's an easy one for the DOT guys too, and if they see it, it's an easy way to pull us over.
Yep.
Yeah, I see up at the corner of 2A and Old Creamery Road, there's one of those big round bales of hay laying in the ditch.
Yeah, you're seeing more of it.
Just rolled right off the truck, must be. It's been there a couple weeks now.
Load securement. I'll write that down. We got to talk about it.
It's only certain things we intentionally spread on the roadways, right?
Right. So this week, just wanted to kind of highlight forklift hazards. It's an important topic for us, as we do have a number of forklifts here at ECI. There is roughly 87 deaths per year on forklifts. They're all preventable. And we're going to talk about kind of our program and how we go about our training here this morning. This kind of safety awareness training that we are having today doesn't correlate to actually being certified to operate the forklift. It's just saying, let's come and see health and safety, and we'll get you through the 90-minute training that we need to do to make sure that you're properly certified to operate our forklifts. So the main three hazards that we really need to focus on are rollovers, pedestrian impacts, and falling loads. We're going to get into more detail with those here shortly. So our best practices, again, we must be trained to operate, get a certification from Austin, myself, and Chico downstairs. Those are our main three instructors. And AJ helps out too on the practical. So we need to make sure that we recertified every 2 years. It's a documented compliance check. It's not the whole going through the whole written and taken an exam, but it's more just a competence check that you are following all the best practices with operating a forklift. Inspect prior to operating, report any issues to the mechanic shop. It's very important that this forklift is operating the way it should 100% of the time. If there's any issues with it, we need to get it addressed and get it fixed. These pieces of equipment that are shared throughout the company sometimes are the ones that kind of get lacking, that you rely on the other person that just went through it and think that it's all good, but it's your responsibility as a certified operator to making sure that you go and do your routine check before you operate it. Lift with the load capacity to the forklift. Again, in the training, you'll see it's tagged working rated for the forklift. Most of the ones that we have here, other than the telescopic boom, that load shift does change with different heights and reaches away from the equipment. But we always want to make sure we understand what we're picking up. What's the weight of it? When we assume or think everything's good, but we don't do that double check, that's when we put ourselves in risk where a potential overloading, especially when traveling or lifting, where those forklifts can get very imbalanced and tip over. Ground personnel, let's just making sure that all ground personnel are aware, make eye contact before approaching, and the same thing with the operator. If you see somebody not really paying attention to you, stop, get their attention, beep those horns out there so you can be heard, be seen, so we don't have any struck by issues in here and around the shop, especially, daylights like today where it's dark and rainy in the morning and we're starting to move stuff around throughout the yard. That's making sure that we have lights on and high vis out there, so we don't have any struck by issues. Some basic forklift drive safety best practices. So keep it slow. It's not a race. These things can be very tippy if you get outside the stability triangle. So do not turn or travel or turn with a raised load. The forklift could tip over. Always face your load uphill, and going downhill, travel in reverse. And be careful of the rear swing, because that's when you see a lot of those struck by issues. So again, when it comes to rollover, uneven surfaces, we need to really identify our uneven surfaces. Turning on incline with the pedestrian impacts, carelessness, distractions, visibility, lack of awareness. Those are the type of behaviors that we want to make sure that we're paying attention to. And then the following loads, making sure that before you pick, you kind of have the center of gravity of the load well balanced with the forks, and we're making sure that any loose loads are being tied together or strapped together before we do any big pick or traveling with our loads. If we do those best practices, we're all trained up. We should continue to have a strong safety record with forklifts like we've had in the last decade. But again, all it takes one for us to really have a serious accident regarding these very useful tools. But again, we need to put the risk tolerance where it needs to be and making sure that we have the right people operating. So if you need any training, come see Austin and myself. We'll get you through if it's a 2-hour recert or a 2-year recert, or if it needs to be done first time around. It's a great time of year to get the safety training before we get super busy in the next couple months. That's all I have. If there's anything else to add, please jump in.
Seatbelts.
And contact health and safety if you need anything.
Your seatbelt on this is one of the things that a lot of times you jump on and off. And I see a lot of times and we've had a lot of guys going around without their seatbelts, and that's got ROPS on it. So we're supposed to have our seatbelt when we're on that, keep us secure.
Oh, yeah. I missed that. That's oversight on my issue. Yeah, seatbelt is a requirement. 18 years and older is also, a standard requirement for
Yep.
forklift operations.
It's easy to tell if a person has a seatbelt on if they drive by with the forklift. So remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take over. Thanks, Matt. I get my right screen here. Oops, I'm not getting it right.
Yeah, we see your calendar.
Yep. Redo that. Here we go. There, do you see that?
Got it.
Yes, we got it.
Okay, good. Trying to move the little view box out of my way. Okay, announcements this week. Monday is President's Day. Oh, something weird happened there. So anyway, there's a new floating holiday, as we talked about before, and we are open for business on President's Day, which we typically were not in the past, but now we have this floating winter holiday, so you can take it on President's Day if that's your desire, but coordinate with your crews for sure. And then the office will be open, and you can use that holiday anytime throughout the winter from January 2nd to March 15th. And there's a copy of the policy there. We have a bunch of new employees. Ooh, I got to put my images on here. Let me download images. Download pictures. Okay. Make that big again. All right. I assume you see my screen now with new employees.
Yep, we got it, Ken.
Okay, this is, and forgive me if I don't pronounce names right, but I think I've got it. This is Mike Kujala. And he's a railroad flagger who's joined us from, I guess, the railroad, from NECR or from Amtrak or something.
Amtrak. I
We
believe.
have, what's that?
Amtrak.
Amtrak, all right. So we have Matt Scaramucci. He's going to be in the paving group. And we have Bruce Putman, who is a driver / operator. So welcome aboard, everybody. And for the primary care wellness program, again, just a reminder, but also I'll just comment, Matt probably knows as much or more about it maybe than me, is Beth Schiller from Champlain Medical is going to be at AGC trying to drum up some interest throughout the industry with this program. So it's gaining some traction. We're really the first ones to help her get it going here. So it's a great opportunity for everybody. If you're not in it, click the link there and learn about it. And if you are, make sure you're updated on your physical, your yearly physical. Upcoming weather, we get this winter weather advisory for today. And I don't know if it's still going to 7 p.m. That was from last night. But we're talking about mixed precipitation, total ice accumulation, 1/10 of an inch, and snow of 1 to 3. They're worried about it, especially the snow on top getting packed down, making a hard surface, a hard, glassy, icy surface for difficult travel. So be careful there. Whoops, I'm jumping ahead too fast here. And then also it's supposed to be a little cooler throughout the weekend, and it still goes up into the 40s, but then I think it cools down for a week or so. So we're at the time of year where we have to start planning too on weather to make sure that roads aren't posted, and if they are, to coordinate with the towns, the Public Works Department, to see if we can travel, when we can travel, if they allow it during like cold mornings, that kind of thing. So right now is a good time to be thinking ahead, because I don't believe anything is restricted yet, but typically when things get warm like it did the last few days, they are at least thinking it, and it will eventually be posted, I'm sure, on everybody's town roads. So for the projects this week, we are highlighting winter paving. And this is a City of Essex Junction project at Iroquois and South Summit Street. We're contracted with the new city of Essex Junction, to repair the road surface damaged by a water line repair earlier this winter. ECI traveled to Drake, Mass, which is around the intersection of 495 and 93 misspelled intersection there, isn't it? North of Boston. So it's that intersection north of Boston to purchase 15 tons of type 3 hot mix, which was heated. Boy, I was in a hurry last night, I guess. Heated to about 350 degrees. Full of typos here. So I believe this is a photo of the truck down in Drake, getting ready to be loaded. And you can see the special tarp they have rolls over the sides and over the top and everything. And this is back in Essex Junction. Looks like the crew is trimming the patch back to get a good joint for the new asphalt and then grading it down. Oops, thought I got rid of that text there. Sometimes it doesn't really show me what it changes its mind, I guess. It's really hard to manage this editor sometimes. And there's the guys laying down the like top there. And let's see if I can jump ahead a whole picture without going too far. There we go. It looks like they're doing the base there. All handwork, of course. Kind of not a big area, but an odd shape. Right in the middle of the intersection. Getting their top on. And fortunately, it was nice weather for putting it down yesterday. This happened yesterday. Dry and not too cold for this time of year. That's what I got for pictures there, and then the slideshow pictures, and then I got this from the photo archives, paving at University Mall back in April of 1988. Look at that. Remember the old Martin store that is now
Oh, there's your brother.
Hanford's.
35
Look at those
years ago.
guys. Yeah. Anybody recognize those guys?
Yeah.
Scotty.
See Scott.
Scotty and Monty Hutchins, I believe that is.
Ah.
Yeah. I think that was when he left that year.
Yep. I don't know where he's been since then. I know he went to Marcelino for a few years back then, but I haven't seen or heard from him since. So that's what I got. I'll turn it back to Matt. Have a safe day out there. And let's see, it's going to be a little bit maybe questionable weather, so travel safely.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Highlight slip, trips, and falls today, and really be careful driving to and from
Right.
sites and to and from work and home. So remember that following distance today, and let's have a safe day. Let's have a great day. If you're watching in group setting, please send me a message so I can capture good attendance. Have a safe day.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Catch you later.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.